And welcome back to the Back of OSL 2009 round of 8. Matt here from Matt and Steve. If you're tuning into this and not the other ones, because Fantasy is playing, Steve is not with me right now. I'm solo casting these. So certainly, I wish I had the help. Steve, if you watch these, I miss you, bro. I miss you. Seriously though. It's not quite the same, but hopefully you guys can stand me alright, and you've been enjoying yourself so far, and I haven't screwed something up too terribly bad, as I tend to do. Alright, Fantasy versus Canata. The two teammates from SK Telecom, SKT, are going to be facing off against each other. This is the other set of teammates, other than the four Sparky's teammates. So, you know, there's got to be a different mindset going into a game like this. They're both Terran players. Okay, we'll be honest. Going into this, you would think, okay, Fantasy has the advantage. Obviously, Fantasy, super strong Terran player. But interestingly enough, both of these players have almost exactly even Terran versus Terran wins. I would say, I think Fantasy is like 57% and Canata is like 56%. So certainly anybody just walking by would go, oh, Fantasy, but, you know, they're about the same. So we'll just kind of have to see how this goes. Now, granted, Fantasy has been looking quite sexy here, and not just from his hairstyle. He's also 3-0'd the round of 16 against Stork, Type B, and Backhoe. So he beat them all, laid them all across his lap, and spanked them silly. I don't know where that came from either. I'm very strange when Steve is not here, so yes, let's all leave him notes to like, I don't know, come back and do stuff. Anyways, okay, Canata here is going to be in brown, Fantasy in white. This is Heartbreak Ridge. Now, Heartbreak Ridge is 100% Terran versus Terran. Haha. Some people got that. You in the back. All right. Anyways, Heartbreak Ridge, I think, is a great Terran map. I actually think Heartbreak Ridge tends to disadvantage Zerg, if anything, being a Zerg player and playing few games on there. That's what I would say, although I don't think that's necessarily that true. That's just how it feels like when I play it. But I feel like when you have the kind of 4 expansions lined up on either side, and you're a Terran and you can kind of lift off your command center, looks like we're going to see, I believe that was an 8 supply depot for Fantasy. Terrorist Force. Vulture. That is an awesome sign. If that was in America, somebody would be like, oh, terrorists, and get offended probably. By the way, I'm here with my delicious Smirnoff Ice. You know, I got a little raspy after those last games. Got to loosen up the lips a little bit. Alright. And looks like about the same thing going on for Canata. However, Canata sending out a later scout. Of course, this is a 2-player map, so neither player is wondering where they are. We are going to go with the barracks inside the base, as well as a little wall in there from the secondary. So we are going to see a slight different build as far as where you're building. We are going to see Fantasy getting the gas. So as far as where they're building that, in case you don't know, and actually, you know what, I would say if you go to Team Liquid and look up the maps on the database, it's actually kind of helpful sometimes if you don't know the maps very well to have a picture of the map maybe on one side of your screen while you're watching this video on the other. Now we're going to have some hidden tech here, most likely from Fantasy, and I don't know if he's going to try to build a factory up here for a possible float or what's going on. We are going to see a later wall-in from Canata, but Fantasy, just super confident, gonna try to, what is he gonna try to do? Mine out the mineral and get by? No, we are gonna see the proxy factory, and he is probably just going to move that right over that, the temple there, and not a bad move at all. In fact, I think that's a very smart move from Fantasy. That's something that, I mean, it's not that difficult to detect if you have the spider sense for it, which it looks like Canata does not. And of course, sending out the normal. Wow, they didn't just high five; they gave each other a nice bear hug there in the middle of the map. Hey man, let's go. Where's the love? Anyways, that was stupid. All right, so we have Canata moving out with a few Marines here, going to try to catch the SCV. That's actually a good idea. Keep the scout out. Fantasy's factory continues to be built there at the top right, and it looks like we're going to see a nice block here as well. So neither player are going to be able to see much going on. A double starport going up. Now this is, well, this is Fantasy. Fantasy is going to kind of go crazy and all in here, and well, okay, it's not completely crazy necessarily or completely all in. I believe that double starport was Fantasy. Yes, it was Fantasy. Okay, so we are seeing a differ here. We are going to see Canata going for an expansion. Fantasy is going total aggressive here and trying. He's going to really put on the pressure, and I really think this is going to pay off for him. Double starport's probably going to, well, he's either going to do, well, double starports only means Wraith, so we are going to see some Wraiths come out here. And obviously, in Terran versus Terran games, it really comes down a lot to dropship play, especially in the middle, the beginning and mid game for harassing and just for offensive pushes. And it's all right. We see two vultures coming in here. I'm going to stop what I'm saying because we are going to see these vultures go around. They have not been spotted yet, and they're going to take out some. One SCV, they're going to get into the main. Now, they don't have any mines yet, of course, although we did see that that was probably going to start being researched. And two SCVs gone here. Fantasy needs a micro. He's noticed almost all the SCVs coming off the line. We are going to see some Wraiths coming out here fairly quickly, and Fantasy already taking out 4 SCVs. Tank is out, so that's good for Canata. The tank is going to stop this harass, possibly one more going down. So I think a pretty... Oh, and he's going to get a 6th one. And if he can move away, he might be able to get a 7th. No, he's going to lose that there. Fantasy, great job. Going to bring in the race. We don't have any sort of anti-air yet other than a couple Marines on the battlefield. And I don't know if Fantasy is still pumping race. I don't know if he's bringing the vultures out, but he should be pumping out more vultures at this point if he wants to keep this attack up. Oh my gosh. So obviously two race, a lot better than one here, can actually do some damage. They should be able to take out the Marines unless Fantasy runs away. We do see a armory coming up, so of course the response to this is to get some Goliaths out, which is a smart thing. But Fantasy is just a baller, just playing so well, bringing over more race, building up the control tower, so he's going to probably either try to research Cloak. I'm assuming he's going to research Cloak because he's kind of gone all in with all these Wraiths here. Doesn't quite yet have an expansion either. So if Fantasy can keep this up and pull this off, which I think he's doing at the moment, then he could take this game with an awesome proxy factory. I haven't seen any more vultures coming out, and it looks like Fantasy is floating back that factory. So good job walling in. Kind of a weak little counterattack coming in here from Canata. And look at this. Look how many SCVs. This is crazy. Canata kind of looking a little bit downtrodden there, and he didn't even have an engineering bay until recently, so he was not able to build any turrets. I think he's going to try to build the turrets. Oh! And I can't even think. Supply depot going down at Fantasy's base. Fantasy could be losing this, although he is bringing back... No, I think Fantasy is going to be able to ward this off all right, but he might lose quite a few SCVs in the process. Very good attack, very good counterattack, but he is going to lose this attack here. And Canata, of course, lost many, many more SCVs here. Now, he does have the expansion, so he did have the economy game running, and he should have some turrets. It looks like he's covering up the turret with his engineering bay, which is pretty smart. Fantasy can't pick it off. And to be honest,